Her back hit the wall. He broke the kiss to breathe. Forehead pressed to hers. Both of them panting. "This is a mistake," he said, even as his lips found the spot under her ear. "Probably," Sophie agreed, tilting her head to give him better access. "We should stop." His teeth grazed her neck, making her whimper. "Definitely." Her hands slid under his shirt, finally touching warm skin. "Hard muscle." Min-Jun groaned. "Amara, I'm losing my mind over this man. My boss, Min-Jun. I can't stop thinking about him. Today he wore this black suit. He rolled up his sleeves in the meeting. Just his forearms, and I almost fainted. Last night I dreamed about him. We were in his office, alone. He pushed me against his window, the one overlooking all of Seoul. His hands were in my hair, pulling, his mouth on my neck, kissing, biting. I woke up literally sweating, Amara. Sweating. This is so wrong. He's my boss. He's 35. I'm 24. That's 11 years. Worse. He's my dad's best friend. Dad's best friend. If my father finds out, he'll kill us both. But God. When Min-Jun looks at me, when he says Sophie in that deep voice, I just want to kiss him until we both forget our names. Last week he touched my hand. Just a brush when he handed me papers. I swear electricity shot through my whole body. I'm falling in love with a man I can never have. What do I do? Sophie Okafor stared at her phone. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was beating so fast she thought it might explode. Those messages. Her messages. The private things she told her best friend Amara back in Nigeria. They were everywhere now. Someone had hacked her phone and posted screenshots in the company group chat. Every single employee at Park Industries in Seoul had seen them. Every single one. Including him. Including Min-Jun. Sophie felt like she was going to throw up. Her office phone rang. She looked at the screen. Park Min-Jun. Theo. God. Oh God, oh God, oh God. For seconds Sophie thought about running. Just grabbing her bag and running out of the building. Getting on a plane back to Lagos. Never coming back to Korea. Never facing this shame. But her hand picked up the phone anyway. Miss Okafor. His voice. That deep voice that haunted her dreams. But now it was cold. Controlled. My office. Right now. The line went dead. Sophie stood up. Her legs felt like water. She was wearing her yellow blazer. The one he'd complimented 3 weeks ago. That compliment had made her feel like she was flying. Now it felt like a spotlight. Everyone in the open office watched her walk to the elevator. Whispers followed her like shadows. Some people looked sorry for her. Others were smiling. Enjoying her pain. The elevator ride to the executive floor felt like it took forever. Sophie caught her reflection in the shiny doors. Her natural hair was pulled back in a professional bun. Her makeup was perfect, but her eyes showed pure panic. Min-Jun's assistant, Ji-Eun, looked at her. The woman's face showed nothing. Go straight in, she said. Sophie knocked once. Come in. She opened the door. Park Min-Jun stood at the huge windows. The windows that overlooked Seoul. The same windows from her dream. He was tall. 6 feet of pure power in a perfect gray suit. His black hair was styled back from his face. That face. Dark jaw. Dark eyes. Lips that looked soft but were pressed into a hard line now. He turned to look at her. Sophie forgot how to breathe. Sit down, he said. Not a request. Command. Sophie sat in the leather chair facing his desk. Her knees were grateful for the support. I read them, Min-Jun said quietly. His voice was still controlled. But she heard something underneath. Something dangerous. Every single message. Sophie wanted to die. Right there. Just disappear from existence. Sir, I can explain. Who did you send them to? My best friend. Amara. She lives in Lagos. Sophie's voice barely worked. I don't know how they got out. She would never share them. Never. I'd have found a breach in your phone. Someone hacked it an hour ago. His jaw tightened. We're investigating. It doesn't matter how, Sophie said. She forced herself to look at him, even though it hurt. What matters is everyone saw them. Everyone knows that I have feelings for you. She couldn't finish. The words stuck in her throat. Inappropriate feelings, Min-Jun said. Each word hit like a slap. For your boss. Your direct supervisor. Sophie's eyes burned. But she refused to cry in front of him. I'm resigning, she said. Right now. I'll pack my desk and be gone in an hour. No. Sophie blinked. What? Your resignation is denied. Min-Jun moved behind his desk. He still didn't sit. He towered over her, reminding her who had power here. Someone violated your privacy, Miss Okafor. Someone hacked your personal phone. Stole your private conversations. You're the victim here. But everyone knows. I don't care what everyone knows. His tone left no room for argument. You earned this internship. You have an MBA from Stanford. You're brilliant. You've done exceptional work for 6 months. I won't let some hacker destroy your career before it even starts. Sophie shook her head. You don't understand. How can I stay here? How can I come to work every day? How can I look at you knowing that you read? Her voice broke. Knowing you read what I think about when I'm alone at night. Something flickered in Min-Jun's dark eyes. Quickly hidden. His hands flexed on the desk. We're both professionals, he said. We'll treat this as an unfortunate incident that has no impact on our working relationship. That's impossible. Nothing is impossible if we both commit to it. He leaned forward slightly. You have 3 weeks left on your internship. 3 weeks until you're eligible for the full-time position I was planning to offer you. In marketing. Not under my supervision. Can you be strong for 3 weeks? The way he said her name earlier. Not Miss Okafor, but Sophie. It made her heart hurt. Please don't make me do this, she whispered. I'm not making you do anything. I'm asking you to fight. Don't let them win. His voice dropped lower. The people who did this wanted to humiliate you. Wanted to make you run away. Are you going to give them that satisfaction? Sophie studied his face. She expected disgust. Or discomfort. Instead she saw determination. Concern. And buried deep underneath. Something that looked like hunger. Well, she was imagining things. Seeing what she wanted to see. What about the messages? She asked quietly. Can we really just forget you read them? Min-Jun was silent. For a long moment he said nothing. When he finally spoke, his voice was rough. I think we should both forget what was in those messages. For the sake of professionalism. For the sake of your career. He paused. And for the sake of my sanity. Sophie's breath caught in her throat. Your sanity. He turned back to the windows suddenly. His back to her. 3 weeks, Miss Okafor. Give me 3 weeks. After that, if you still want to leave, I won't stop you. But don't run now. Don't let fear make your decisions. He should argue. Should insist on leaving. But something in his voice stopped her. Okay, she heard herself say. 3 weeks. Min-Jun didn't turn around. But she saw his reflection in the glass. His eyes closed briefly. Relief. Or maybe pain. You're dismissed. Take the rest of today off. Come back tomorrow ready to work. Sophie stood. Her legs were steadier now. She made it to the door. Sophie. She froze. He'd never used her first name before today. For what it's worth, he said quietly. Still not turning around. You're not the only one fighting inappropriate feelings. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Dangerous. Sophie's heart started racing again. She wanted to turn around. To ask what he meant. To cross the space between them and... Good afternoon, Mr. Park, she managed to say. And she left before she did something stupid. After Sophie left, Min-Jun pulled out his phone. He opened his photo gallery. scrolled to a hidden folder. A photo from a company dinner 3 months ago. Everyone was smiling at the camera. Everyone except Min-Jun. His eyes were on Sophie. Only on Sophie. He'd been staring at her while everyone else looked at the camera. And the expression on his face. Pure hunger. Min-Jun closed his phone and sat down heavily. 3 weeks, he said to himself. I just have to survive 3 weeks. But he already knew. 3 weeks was gonna feel like 3 years. Sophie's apartment in Gangnam was small. Tiny compared to the huge places most expats had in Seoul. But she'd insisted on something modest when Park Industries offered to set her up. She wanted to prove she was there for the work, not the luxury. Now she sat on her small couch, a bottle of soju in her hand, drinking it straight even though she knew she'd regret it tomorrow. Her phone buzzed. Video call from Lagos. Amara's face filled the screen, beautiful and worried. Sophie. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I swear on my life I didn't share those messages. I would never. I know, Sophie cut her off. Someone hacked my phone. Min-Jun told me. Amara's eyes went wide. Min-Jun. You're calling him by his first name now. He used mine first. Sophie took another drink of soju. The burn felt good. Amara, he said something weird. He said I'm not the only one fighting inappropriate feelings. Amara leaned closer to her camera. Girl. What? Your billionaire boss just admitted he wants you too. That's crazy, Sophie said. He could have anyone. Korean actresses, models, rich chaebol daughters. But he doesn't want them, Amara interrupted. He wants you. The brilliant, beautiful Nigerian woman who's been making him crazy. Sophie shook her head. Even if he does have feelings, which I don't believe, we can't do anything about it. He's my boss. He's 11 years older. And worst of all, she took another drink. He's my dad's best friend. You know how dad is. He'd lose his mind if he knew I had feelings for Min-Jun. Your internship ends in 3 weeks, Amara pointed out. And then what? We just start dating. His world is billions of won and fancy parties and high society. My world is jollof rice and Afrobeats and trying to pay off my student loans. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. It would never work. Love doesn't care about any of that, Amara said softly. And Sophie, you don't just want him. You love him. I can hear it in your voice. Sophie couldn't deny it. She'd fallen in love with Park Min-Jun somewhere between her 3rd month of internship and now. When he'd praised her first big presentation. When he'd brought her coffee during late nights. When he'd smiled at her jokes. Those rare, beautiful smiles that transformed his serious face. It doesn't matter, Sophie whispered. Nothing can happen between us. After the call ended, Sophie sat alone in the dark. She pulled up photos on her phone. Work events, company dinners, team building days. In almost every photo, Min-Jun appeared somewhere in the background. She'd never taken pictures of him directly. That would be creepy. But somehow her camera always found him anyway. Or, company dinner 3 months ago. Min-Jun was laughing at something. Sophie remembered that moment. She'd made a joke. And his laugh had made her feel like she'd won the lottery. Another photo. A team-building cooking competition. Min-Jun had rolled up his sleeves. Joined the staff. Sophie had been on his team. The brush of his arm against hers had made her hands shake so bad she'd almost cut herself. She needed to stop. Needed to stop torturing herself with impossible dreams. The next morning, Sophie dressed carefully. Black blazer. Black pencil skirt. Cream blouse buttoned all the way to her collar. Armor. That's what this outfit was. Armor against the storm waiting for her. The office was worse than she'd imagined. Conversations stopped when she walked past. Eyes followed her everywhere. Someone had actually printed out one of her messages. Left it on her desk. Sophie picked it up without reading it. Crumpled it. Threw it in the trash. Ignore them. Kim Ji-woo appeared beside her desk. The senior marketing manager had always been kind to Sophie, mentoring her through Korean business culture. They're bored, Ji-woo continued. In a week, something else will happen and they'll forget all about this. You read them, Sophie said quietly. The messages. I did. Ji-woo smiled slightly. And I thought, she has excellent taste. Mr. Park is quite attractive. Half the women in this office have fantasies about him. You're just the only one honest enough to write them down. Sophie couldn't help it. She laughed. Sounded a little hysterical. But it broke the tension in her chest. Now, Ji-woo said briskly. We have the luxury brand pitch next week. Big client. International campaign. Focus on work. Everything else is just noise. For the next few hours, Sophie buried herself in research, market data, consumer behavior, strategy documents. Work had always been her safe place. The thing she could control when everything else felt chaotic. She was so focused she didn't notice the time. Her calendar alert chimed. Executive lunch. 12:30 p.m. Sophie's stomach dropped. The monthly executive lunch. Department heads and select team members presented updates. Sophie had been invited as recognition of her strong performance. Back when that felt like an honor. Now it felt like punishment. The executive dining room was on the top floor. All windows. Elegant Korean fusion food. Beautiful and intimidating. Sophie arrived exactly on time. Smoothing her blazer with shaking hands. Min-Jun was already there. Talking to the CFO. His eyes found her immediately. Quick look, checking if she was okay. Then he returned to his conversation. That small gesture steadied Sophie. He wasn't treating her differently. He was keeping his word about professionalism. Sophie sat at the far end of the table, as far from Min-Jun as possible. The meal started with small talk. Business updates. Market trends. Safe topics. Then the HR director cleared his throat. Mr. Park, regarding yesterday's security breach. We've implemented new protocols, but should we address? The matter is closed, Min-Jun interrupted. His voice was smooth, but hard as steel. We identified the source. The individual has been dealt with. We're moving forward. I expect everyone here to ensure their teams do the same. His tone ended all discussion. Heads nodded around the table. Miss Okafor. Sophie's head snapped up. Min-Jun was looking directly at her. Your quarterly review was exceptional. I'm putting you in charge of the luxury brand pitch next week. Ji-woo will assist, but this is your project. Your vision. Sophie's heart stopped. He was giving her the biggest opportunity of her internship. Right after the scandal. Making a statement. Her work was what mattered. Not gossip. Not leaked messages. Her work. Thank you, sir, Sophie managed. I won't let you down. I know you won't. The confidence in his voice was absolute. Complete. After lunch, people filtered out slowly. Min-Jun caught Sophie's elbow gently. A moment. They waited until the room was empty. He released her arm, but didn't step back. Close enough that she could smell his cologne. Something woodsy and expensive. Something that made her want to lean in. You came back, he said quietly. I wasn't sure you would. You asked me to be brave, Sophie replied. I'm trying. The project I gave you, it's not charity. It's not me feeling sorry for you. I know. And she did. Despite everything, Sophie knew she was good at her job. Min-Jun's gaze dropped to her lips. Just for a second. Then snapped back up to her eyes. 3 weeks, he said. Almost to himself. I can survive 3 weeks. Sir. Nothing. He stepped back. The professional mask sliding into place. Prepare your presentation. I expect excellence. You'll have it. Sophie turned to leave. She felt his eyes on her. All the way to the elevator. And for the first time since the leak. She felt something other than shame. She felt hope. Back in his office, Min-Jun pulled out his phone. He dialed a number he rarely used. I need you to find who's behind the hack, he said in Korean. And I need to know if Sophie Okafor is in any danger. He paused, listening. Also, I need to talk to Chidi Okafor soon. Sophie's father. My best friend. Another pause. He needs to know the truth about his daughter. About how I feel about her. Before this goes any further. Min-Jun hung up. He looked out at Seoul stretching below him. 3 weeks until Sophie's internship ended. 3 weeks until he could pursue her properly. But first he had to tell his best friend, the man who'd saved his life, that he was falling in love with his daughter. That conversation was going to be hell. 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks of strange normalcy. Sophie threw herself into the luxury brand project, working late nights, perfecting every detail. The office whispers died down, became just occasional glances. Some co-workers even started treating her normally again. Min-Jun maintained perfect professionalism. Except for the moments when their eyes met across a conference room, and the air turned thick, electric. Except when his hand brushed hers passing documents, and they both froze. Except when she'd catch him staring at her, his expression hungry, before he'd remember himself and look away. 1 week left. 7 days until her internship ended. 7 days until... What? Sophie told herself she'd take the job offer in marketing. Stay far away from Min-Jun's daily presence. Let these feelings fade. She was lying to herself. It was nearly midnight on Friday. Sophie was alone in the office, finishing the last details of her presentation. The building was empty. Security had just done their rounds. Even the cleaning staff had left. Sophie stretched. Her back ached from hunching over her laptop for hours. She'd grab food on the way home, take a hot bath, calamari, pretend everything was fine. The elevator dinged. Sophie looked up, expecting the security guard maybe. But 3 men stepped out. They wore casual clothes. Too casual for Park Industries employees. Something about the way they moved. Predatory. Purposeful. Warning bells went off in Sophie's head. Miss Okafor, the first one said. He smiled. But his eyes were cold. Sophie Okafor from Nigeria. Who are you? Sophie stood slowly, her hand reaching for her phone. Don't. Another man moved fast. Faster than she expected. He grabbed her wrist. Hard. Hard enough to hurt. Mr. Park's business has made many enemies. You're close to him. That makes you valuable. Ice flooded through Sophie's body. Fear. Pure fear. I'm just an intern, she said. I'm nobody. You're the woman he publicly defended, the first man interrupted. The woman he gave his biggest project to. He stepped closer. The woman whose leaked messages showed she's in love with him. That makes you very valuable indeed. Sophie's mind raced. The office was empty. The floor was soundproofed. Nobody would hear her scream. What do you want? Her voice shook. She hated that. Hated showing fear. Insurance. Park Min-Jun has something our employer needs. With you in our possession, he'll be motivated to cooperate. You're wrong, Sophie said desperately. He doesn't care about me that much. The man's hand shot out, grabbed her jaw, roughly, painfully. Don't insult our intelligence. We've been watching. We've seen how he looks at you, how he protects you. We know exactly what you mean to him. Sophie tried to jerk away. But the second man still held her wrist in a bruising grip. The third man moved behind her, cutting off any escape. This was really happening. She was being kidnapped. Because of Min-Jun. Because her stupid, obvious feelings had made her a target. Let her go. 4 words. In Korean. Cold as winter ice. Everyone turned. Min-Jun stood by the stairwell door. He must have taken the stairs. Avoided the elevator sound. He'd removed his jacket. His white shirt sleeves were rolled up, showing those forearms Sophie had written about. But she wasn't thinking about that now. Because Min-Jun looked absolutely lethal, dangerous, like something from an action movie. Mr. Park, the first man said. Perfect timing. We were just. He didn't finish the sentence. Min-Jun moved, like lightning, faster than seemed possible. He crossed the space in 3 strides. His fist connected with the man's jaw. A sickening crack. The man dropped. Drop. The second man released Sophie's wrist, reached inside his jacket for a weapon. But Min-Jun was already spinning. His leg came up. A brutal kick to the man's stomach. The man flew backward, hit a desk, crumpled to the floor. Sophie stumbled backward. Her shaking hands finally got her phone. She dialed security. The third man grabbed her from behind, used her as a shield. Stop or I'll. Min-Jun's eyes met Sophie's. In that moment she saw something that terrified her. Not because it was scary, but because of what it meant. Absolute cold fury. This wasn't a businessman. This was someone who knew exactly how to hurt people. Someone who'd been trained. Close your eyes, Min-Jun ordered softly. Sophie obeyed. She felt the man's grip loosen suddenly. Heard a choke gasp. Heavy thud. Then nothing. Gentle hands gripped her shoulders. Different hands. Careful hands. Sophie, open your eyes. It's over. Min-Jun stood in front of her, breathing hard. His hair was messed up. His shirt had a small tear. Behind him, all 3 attackers were on the ground, groaning. Not unconscious, but definitely not getting up soon. Security burst from the elevators, flooding the floor. Contain them, Min-Jun snapped in Korean. Call the police. Secure all CCTV footage. Now. Then he pulled Sophie against his chest. His arms wrapped around her. Protective. Sophie melted into him, her body shaking with delayed shock. She could feel his heart, pounding hard against her cheek. Could feel how his hands trembled slightly as they moved over her back, checking for injuries. Are you hurt? His voice was barely controlled. Did they hurt you? No, Sophie whispered. You got here in time. She pulled back enough to look at him. How did you know? I was still in my office. I saw them on the security feed entering the building. His hands cupped her face, tilting it, checking for any marks, any bruises. I've been watching the feeds. Since the leak I've been monitoring, making sure no one tried anything. You've been watching over me. Of course. He said it like it was obvious, like there was never any question. Did you think I'd let anyone hurt you? Police arrived, then paramedics. Sophie was checked over despite her protests that she was fine. Min-Jun never left her side. His hand stayed at her lower back. His body positioned between her and everyone else. Protective. Always protective. Finally they were alone in his office. The scene secured. Statements given. Attackers taken away. I could have. Sophie's voice broke. If you hadn't been there. But I was. Min-Jun pulled her back into his arms. Held her tight. I was there and you're safe. Sophie buried her face in his chest, breathing in his scent, letting his solid warmth steady her. Why were you really still here? She asked. It's midnight. Then quietly. I work late every night you work late. I make sure you get to your car safely. I have security follow you home. His hand cradled the back of her head. I've been doing it since the leak. Since I knew you might be a target because of me. Sophie pulled back to stare at him. Min-Jun. You can't stay at your apartment. Not until we know who sent them and why. His jaw was set. Determined. You're coming home with me. That's not necessary. It's absolutely necessary. His eyes blazed. Someone just tried to kidnap you because of me. Because of whatever this is between us. I'm not letting you out of my sight until I know you're safe. You're home. Min-Jun, we can't. We can and we will. He gentled his tone. But the determination remained. Please, Sophie. I need to know you're safe. I need. He swallowed hard. I need you close. The raw honesty in his voice shattered Sophie's resistance. Okay, she whispered. Okay. His exhale was pure relief. Cheeky. Grab your things. We're leaving now. Twist. As they waited for the police to finish, Min-Jun's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You can't protect her forever, Park. We always get what we want. Your little Nigerian girlfriend is just the beginning. Min-Jun deleted it before Sophie could see. His jaw tightened. This was bigger than he'd thought. More dangerous. And Sophie was in the center of it. Because of him. He'd protect her. Even if it meant telling her father everything. Even if it meant going to war with whoever was behind this. Sophie Okafor was his to protect now. And Min-Jun protected what was his. Min-Jun's penthouse was in Hanamdong, one of the most expensive areas in Seoul, where Korea's richest people lived. Sophie had known he was wealthy, but seeing his home, it was different. The private elevator opened directly into his penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the Han River sparkling below. The Seoul skyline glittered like diamonds. The furniture was expensive, but comfortable. Modern art on the walls. Everything sleek and beautiful. But what surprised Sophie most? Felt like a home, not a showroom. Bookshelves overflowed with books in Korean, English, and Japanese. Framed photos everywhere. Min-Jun with an elderly couple. His grandparents probably. Him in military uniform. Younger. Harder looking. Candid shots with friends. The kitchen looked actually used. Ingredients on the counter. A coffee maker that had clearly seen heavy use. Worn slippers by the door next to expensive Italian shoes. The guest room is this way, Min-Jun said. He led her down a hallway. He'd loosened his tie in the car, but still looked unfairly put together. The guest room was huge. Bigger than Sophie's entire apartment. Massive bed. White linens that looked soft as clouds. The bathroom was all marble and chrome. A tub big enough for 2 people. Sophie shut down that thought immediately. There's a panic room behind that bookshelf. Min-Jun pointed to the far wall. Biometric lock. You'll register your fingerprint tomorrow. My head of security, Kong Soo-jin, is posted in the lobby downstairs. Nobody gets up here without my personal approval. You've thought of everything. I have to. His voice went rough again. When I saw those men touching you. He cut himself off. His hands clenched into fists. Sophie stepped closer. Without thinking. You got there in time. I'm okay. You're not okay. Min-Jun's eyes dropped to her wrist. Bruises were already forming. Dark marks from where the man had grabbed her. His jaw tightened. They hurt you. They put their hands on you. Min-Jun. He reached for her wrist gently. Oh, gently. His touch featherlight as he examined the bruises. I should have been faster. You saved my life, Sophie said firmly. She turned her hand in his. Their fingers tangled together. You saved me. The air between them shifted, thickened, charged with something electric. Min-Jun's thumb stroked over her pulse point. He could definitely feel how fast her heart was racing. I can't lose you, he said quietly. His voice raw, vulnerable. When I saw those men. When I realized what they wanted to do. His eyes met hers. I've never been that afraid in my life. You barely know me, Sophie whispered. I know enough. His free hand came up, cupped her face. I know you're brilliant and brave. I know you light up every room you enter. I know your smile makes my entire day better. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I know I think about you constantly. Even though I shouldn't. Sophie's breath caught. The messages were the most beautiful torture I've ever experienced. He leaned closer. His forehead almost touching hers. Do you know what it's like? Reading someone's fantasies about you. Knowing exactly what they want. What they dream about. and not being able to do anything about it. We can't, Sophie whispered, even as her body swayed toward his. Your reputation. My career. Your internship ends in 1 week. Min-Jun's voice dropped lower, rougher. 7 days, Sophie. Then you're not my intern anymore. And then what? We just start dating. Then I take you on a proper date. I court you the way you deserve. I show you that what's between us is worth fighting for. His hand slid into her hair, gentle but possessive. But only if you want that too. Sophie's hands had somehow ended up fisted in his shirt. When had she grabbed him? You know I do. You read the messages. I need to hear you say it. When you're not panicked, not in shock. When you're thinking clearly. His lips were inches away. Tell me what you want, Sophie. I want you, she breathed out. The truth. The whole truth. I've wanted you since the first day I walked into your office and you smiled at me. Min-Jun's control visibly cracked. 7 days, he said, almost desperately. I can wait 7 days. I can do this right. What if I don't want to wait? His grip tightened in her hair. Not painful, but possessive. Don't tempt me. I'm barely holding on as it is. Maybe I want you to let go. Sophie. Her name came out ragged. You were just attacked. You're emotional. Vulnerable. I won't take advantage of that. She kissed him. Impulsive. Desperate. Probably stupid. But Sophie couldn't help it. She'd been dreaming about this for months. After tonight. After almost being taken. After him saving her. She couldn't wait anymore. For a heartbeat, Min-Jun froze. Completely still. Then he groaned into her mouth. And kissed her back like a man starving. His lips were softer than she'd imagined. But his kiss. Nothing gentle about it. Hungry. Possessive. 6 months of denied desire finally unleashed. One hand cupped the back of her head, angling her exactly how he wanted her. The other gripped her waist, pulled her flush against him. Sophie gasped at the sensation. All hard muscle, controlled strength, power barely leashed. Her fingers moved from his shirt to his hair, finally touching those silky black strands she dreamed about. Min-Jun walked her backward, step by step, until her back hit the wall. He broke the kiss to breathe. Forehead pressed to hers, both of them panting. This is a mistake, he said, even as his lips found the spot under her ear. Probably, Sophie agreed, tilting her head to give him better access. We should stop. His teeth grazed her neck, making her whimper. Definitely. Her hands slid under his shirt, finally touching warm skin. Hard muscle. Min-Jun groaned. His hips pressed her more firmly into the wall. Sophie could feel exactly how much he wanted her. It was intoxicating, overwhelming, perfect. 7 days, he murmured against her throat, each word punctuated with a kiss. We wait 7 days and I do this properly. Take you to dinner. We don't rush this. He pulled back to look at her. His eyes were dark, burning. Because when I finally have you, and I will have you, Sophie Okafor, I want there to be no complications, no concerns, nothing but us. Sophie whimpered as his mouth found hers again. This kiss slower, but no less devastating. He was seducing her with patience, showing her exactly how good the wait could be. When he finally pulled back, they were both shaking. Bed, Min-Jun said roughly. Your bed. Alone. Before I forget every good intention I have. I don't want you to be good. I know. He pressed one last kiss to her forehead. Tender. Weep. But you deserve good. You deserve the best of me. Not me losing control. He stepped back, creating distance. 7 days, Sophie. Give me 7 days to do this right. He left before she could argue. The door closed with a quiet click. Sophie stood against the wall, her lips swollen, her body aching with want. 7 days. Felt like an eternity, But as she finally crawled into bed, she couldn't help but smile. Because in 7 days, Park Min-Jun was going to be hers. In his own bedroom, Min-Jun sat on his bed, his head in his hands. His phone buzzed. A message from his head of security. Sir, we've identified the 3 men. They work for Choi Enterprises, your main business rival. But there's something else. Choi knows about Miss Okafor's father. About your connection to Chidi Okafor. Min-Jun's blood ran cold. If Choi knew about Sophie's father, if he knew Min-Jun was Chidi's best friend, then this wasn't just about business. This was personal. And Sophie was in even more danger than he'd thought. Min-Jun pulled up another contact. His finger hovered over it. Chidi Okafor Lagos. He needed to call his best friend. Needed to tell him everything. About the danger. About the feelings. About loving his daughter. But not tonight. Tonight he just needed to keep Sophie safe. Tomorrow he'd face the consequences. Sophie woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee. For a moment she was confused. This wasn't her apartment. The bed was too soft. The room too big. Then last night came flooding back. The attack. The rescue. A kiss. God, the kiss. Sophie buried her face in the pillow, groaning. What had she been thinking? Throwing herself at her boss like that. Except he'd kissed her back. He'd said he wanted her. Asked for 7 days. 6 days now. Sophie forced herself out of bed. She showered quickly. Changed into jeans and a soft sweater from her overnight bag. The bag Min-Jun must have retrieved from her apartment at some point. She took a deep breath. Time to face him. The kitchen was a revelation. Min-Jun stood at the stove, wearing fitted black joggers. A gray t-shirt that hugged his lean muscles perfectly. His hair was slightly damp from his shower, falling into his eyes as he focused on cooking. He looked nothing like the powerful CEO. He looked human, approachable, and absolutely devastating. Good morning, he said without turning around. How did he know she was there? I hope you like Japanese breakfast. I'm making tamagoyaki. You cook. My Halmiani, my grandmother, insisted all her grandchildren learn. He glanced back with a small smile. That smile that transformed his serious face. She said any man who can't feed himself is useless. Smart woman. Comfortable silence fell as Min-Jun cooked. He'd set out coffee for her. Prepared exactly how she liked it. Which meant he'd been paying attention at the office. Watching her. Learning her preferences. The thought made Sophie's heart flutter. Breakfast was delicious. Fluffy rolled eggs. Perfectly steamed rice. Miso soup. Various banchan side dishes. They ate at his dining table. The Han River sparkling below them. Soul spreading out like a glittering dream. What happens now? Sophie asked. With the men who attacked me. Min-Jun's expression hardened. The softness disappearing. They're being questioned by police. The company they work for is a shell corporation. Untraceable so far. But I have people digging deeper. Why would anyone target me? That's what I'm trying to find out. He reached across the table. Took her hand. His thumb stroked her knuckles. But until I do, you stay here. With me. Where I can protect you. I can't just move in with you. You can and you will. His voice left no room for argument. Your safety isn't negotiable, Sophie. People will talk. Let them talk. His eyes were fierce. Protective. I don't care what people say. I care about keeping you alive. Sophie's heart skipped. 6 days, she said softly. 6 days, he agreed. His voice going rough again. Then everyone can talk all they want. Because you'll be mine and I'll make damn sure everyone knows it. The possessiveness shouldn't have been so attractive. But it was. God, it was. The weekend passed in a strange bubble. A domestic bubble that felt both foreign and natural. Min-Jun worked from home. Set up in his study with 3 large monitors. Video calls in Korean. His voice commanding and cold with business associates. Sophie worked on her presentation in the living room. Papers spread across his expensive coffee table. Her laptop surrounded by notes and sketches. They moved around each other easily, like they'd been doing this for years instead of just days. He made lunch. Korean-style sandwiches that shouldn't have worked but did. She made dinner. Jollof rice with chicken. Her mother's recipe. The one she'd learned as a teenager in Lagos. Min-Jun's eyes widened at the first bite. "This is incredible," he said, going back for seconds, then thirds. "My mom's recipe," Sophie said, then stopped, realizing what she'd almost said. "What?" Min-Jun asked gently. "My mom would die if she knew I was cooking her jollof rice for." She trailed off. "For who?" he prompted. "For the Korean billionaire I'm living with." Sophie laughed, but it sounded slightly hysterical. "This is insane. My parents would lose their minds. My dad especially." "Your father is my best friend," Min-Jun said quietly, setting down his fork. "I need to tell him. About us. About how I feel about you." Sophie's eyes went wide. "No, not yet. He'll what? Be angry. Probably want to punch me. Definitely." Min-Jun's expression was serious, determined. "But I won't dishonor his daughter by sneaking around. When I take you on that date in 6 days, I want to do it with your father's knowledge. If not his blessing." "He'll kill you," Sophie said. "Then I'll die happy." Min-Jun smiled slightly. "Your father saved my life in Lagos 5 years ago. Did you know that?" Sophie shook her head. "I was there for business. Expanding into the Nigerian market. There was an attempted robbery at the hotel. Your father was there for a conference." Min-Jun's eyes grew distant, remembering. "He pulled me out of the way. Took a hit meant for me. We ended up in the hospital together for 3 days. Started talking. Became friends." He focused back on Sophie. "It's why when he mentioned his brilliant daughter was applying for internships, I made sure Park Industries was an option. I wanted to help his daughter succeed." He paused. "Though I didn't expect to fall for you. That was unexpected." Sophie's chest felt tight. "When did you know that you had feelings for me?" "Your first big presentation. 3 months into your internship." Min-Jun leaned back, lost in the memory. "You were proposing that cross-cultural marketing strategy. Half the room thought it was too risky. You stood your ground. Defended every point with data and passion." He smiled. "Afterward, you were so nervous you spilled coffee on your blazer. And instead of being embarrassed, you laughed about it." His eyes softened. "I went back to my office and realized I was in serious trouble." "I spilled coffee because you were staring at me," Sophie admitted. "It made me nervous. I was staring because you were magnificent." The air between them thickened again. That electric charge. Min-Jun's eyes dropped to her lips. 5.5 days, Sophie whispered. "An eternity," he agreed roughly. Sunday evening they watched a movie. Some Korean action film on his massive TV. Sophie couldn't focus on it, because Min-Jun sat next to her on the couch. Close enough that his body heat warmed her side. Close enough that she could smell his cologne. Halfway through, she leaned against him. Without thinking. Just naturally gravitating toward him. His arm came around her shoulders immediately, pulling her closer. Sophie's hand rested on his chest, feeling his heart beat steadily. "This is nice," she murmured. "It is." His hand stroked her arm absently. Gentle circles that made her sleepy. Content. "I could get used to this. Me cooking jollof and you making tamagoyaki? You in my space. In my home." Min-Jun's voice was quiet. "Just you. Here. With me." Sophie tilted her head to look up at him. He was already looking down at her. His expression soft. "Pin. 5 more days," she said. 5 more days, he confirmed. And then I take you to the best restaurant in Seoul. Somewhere with a view." Candles. Romance. His hand came up to cup her face. And I spend the entire night showing you exactly how I feel about you. Just talking, Sophie teased. Min-Jun's eyes darkened. Among other things, he leaned down, pressed a soft kiss to her forehead. But first I do this right. You deserve that, Sophie. You deserve everything. Later that night, after Sophie had gone to bed, Min-Jun's phone rang. An international number. Lagos. His stomach dropped. He answered. Chidi. Min-Jun, my friend. Chidi Okafor's booming voice filled the line. Warm. Happy. Trusting. How are you? How's Seoul? And more importantly, how's my Sophie doing? She tells me the internship is going well, but I want to hear it from you. Min-Jun closed his eyes. This man had saved his life. This man trusted him with his daughter's career. This man had no idea Min-Jun had fallen in love with that daughter. She's... Min-Jun started. How did he say this? She's exceptional, Chidi. Brilliant. Hardworking. She's going to be a star. That's my girl. Pride radiated through the phone. I knew sending her to you was the right choice. You'll look after her, won't you? Make sure she's safe in Seoul. Min-Jun thought about the attack. The bruises on Sophie's wrist. How close he'd come to losing her. With my life, he said quietly. I'll protect her with my life, Chidi. Good man. I knew I could count on you. There was a pause. Min-Jun. Is everything all right? You sound strange. This was it. The moment to tell him. To be honest. Chidi, there's something I need to tell you. About Sophie. About. A crash from Sophie's room. Scream. Min-Jun dropped the phone. Then. He burst into her room. Sophie was sitting up in bed. Eyes wide. Terrified. The window, she gasped. I saw someone at the window. They were on the 32nd floor. Nobody should be at the window. Min-Jun ran to it. Looked out. Nothing. But on the glass. Written in something that looked like lipstick. Soon. Min-Jun's blood turned to ice. Someone had just rappelled down to his window. To Sophie's window. In the middle of the night. To leave a threat. This was escalating. West. Behind him. He heard Chidi's voice from the dropped phone. Min-Jun. Ian. What's happening? Was that Sophie screaming? What's going on? Min-Jun picked up the phone. His voice was cold. Deadly. Chidi, I need you to listen very carefully. Sophie is in danger. There's been an attack. An attempted kidnapping. Now a threat. He looked at Sophie, who was staring at him with wide, terrified eyes. I'm keeping her safe. She's staying with me until we neutralize the threat. What? Chidi's roar could probably be heard without the phone. Someone attacked my daughter. And she's staying with you. It's the safest place. The safest place is on a plane back to Lagos. They'll follow her there, Min-Jun said quietly. This is about me. About my business. She's a target because of me. The only way to keep her safe is to keep her close until we find who's behind this. Then you find them. Fast. Chidi's voice was hard. Dangerous. A father protecting his daughter. Because if anything happens to Sophie, Min-Jun, best friend or not, I will come to Seoul and I will end you. Understand? Understood. Min-Jun looked at Sophie again. At the fear in her eyes. The trust underneath it. Trust in him to protect her. Chidi. There's something else. Something I need to tell you about Sophie and me. Not now, Chidi interrupted. Right now, I just need you to keep my daughter alive. Everything else can wait. The line went dead. Min-Jun stood there, looking at Sophie, at the message on the window. He'd been planning to tell Chidi the truth, about his feelings, his intentions, but now he just needed to keep Sophie alive. The confession could wait. Survival came first. Min-Jun didn't leave Sophie's room that night. He pulled a chair to her door, sat there, watching, protecting. Every few hours Sophie would wake up. See him there. Feel safe again. Go back to sleep. By morning, she found him still sitting there. His eyes red. His jaw covered in stubble. Did you sleep at all? She asked. Doesn't matter. His voice was rough from lack of sleep. Your safety matters. That's all. Sophie's heart clenched. This man. This beautiful, protective, impossible man. Min-Jun, you can't keep doing this. You need to sleep. To rest. I'll rest when you're safe. He stood. Stretch. Sophie heard his back crack. Shower and get dressed. We're going somewhere. Where? Somewhere safer than here, apparently. 30 minutes later, they were in Min-Jun's private car, driving through Seoul's morning traffic. His driver took them to a building Sophie didn't recognize. Bleak. Modern. High security. What is this place? My other property, Min-Jun said. The one nobody knows about. Not even my family. They took a private elevator to the top floor. The penthouse there was smaller than his main home, but just as beautiful. More importantly, had serious security. Cameras everywhere. Reinforced windows. A panic room that looked like something from a spy movie. You'll stay here until we resolve this, Min-Jun said. I'll stay with you. Work remotely. So will you. What about the presentation? The luxury brand pitch. We'll handle it virtually if we have to. He looked at her. Your life is more important than any business deal, Sophie. Before she could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at it. His expression darkened. I need to take this. Stay here. He stepped onto the balcony, closing the door behind him. Sophie watched him through the glass, saw his posture change, saw him go from protective to dangerous in seconds. He was yelling in Korean. Whoever was on the other end was getting the full force of his anger. When he came back inside, his expression was carefully blank. But she could see the tension in his shoulders. What's wrong? We found who's behind the attacks, Min-Jun said quietly. A man named Choi Deung. He runs Choi Enterprises. My biggest business rival. Why does he want to hurt me? Because hurting you hurts me. Min-Jun sat down heavily, looking suddenly tired. I beat him on a major deal 3 months ago. Cost him billions. He's been looking for revenge ever since. He looked at Sophie. When your messages leaked, when he saw how I defended you, he realized you were the perfect leverage. Sophie felt sick. This is all my fault. If I hadn't written those messages. No. Min-Jun crossed to her in 2 strides, grabbed her shoulder. This is not your fault. Someone violated your privacy. Someone else decided to use that violation to hurt people. None of that is on you. But nothing. His grip gentlened, became a caress. The only thing you're guilty of is having feelings for me. And Sophie. I'm guilty of the same thing. Sophie's breath caught. What happens now? Now I handle Choi. Permanently. There was something in his voice. Something cold. Something that reminded Sophie he wasn't just a businessman. What are you going to do? Whatever it takes to keep you safe. The next 3 days passed in a strange, tense bubble. Sophie worked on her presentation. Min-Jun worked on destroying Choi Enterprises. She'd hear him on calls, speaking rapid Korean, his voice cold and commanding. She didn't understand all the words, but she understood the tone. He was dismantling someone's empire, piece by piece. A night they'd cook together. She taught him how to make Nigerian pepper soup. He taught her how to make proper kimchi jjigae. They'd eat. Carefully avoid touching. 'Cause they both knew. One touch and the dam would break. And they'd promised to wait. 4 days now. For more days until her internship ended. For more days until they could stop pretending this was just protection. On the 3rd night, Sophie couldn't sleep. She found Min-Jun on the balcony, looking out at Seoul. A glass of whiskey in his hand. Can't sleep either, she asked. Too much on my mind. He didn't look at her, just kept staring at the city. I talked to your father today. Had to give him an update on the situation. Sophie's stomach dropped. What did you tell him? The truth. That someone targeted you because of me. That I'm keeping you safe until it's resolved. What did he say? He said if anything happens to you, he'll kill me. Min-Jun smiled slightly. But there was no humor in it. Can't say I blame him. If you were my daughter, I'd say the same thing. He finally looked at her. But you're not my daughter, Sophie. You're. He trailed off. Sophie stepped closer. I'm what? You're everything I shouldn't want but can't stop thinking about. His voice was rough. You're the woman who makes me want to be better. Who makes me want to deserve her. He set down his glass. For more days and I can tell your father the complete truth. Not just that I'm protecting you. But that I'm falling in love with you. Sophie's heart stopped. You're what? Falling in love with you. Min-Jun said it simply. Like it was a fact. Have been for months. Tried to fight it. Tried to be professional. But then I read those messages and realized you felt the same way and... Sophie kissed him. Hard. Desperate. Tired of waiting. Min-Jun made a sound. Half surprise. Half surrender. He kissed her back with everything he'd been holding in. His hands in her hair. Her waist. Pulling her against him. Sophie's hands slid under his shirt. Feeling warm skin. Hard muscle. 4 days. Min-Jun murmured against her lips. But he didn't stop kissing her. We should wait 4 days. We should, Sophie agreed. Her hands moving higher. But I don't want to. Min-Jun groaned. Pulled back just enough to look at her. His eyes were dark. Burning. If we do this now, I won't stop, Sophie. I won't be able to stop. Then don't stop. She pulled him back to her. I don't want you to stop. They didn't make it to the bedroom. Later, tangled together on the couch, Sophie's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She picked it up. Read it. Went ice cold. Min-Jun. He looked at her. Saw her expression. What's wrong? She showed him the phone. Enjoying your time with Park. Too bad it won't last. We know about your father. We know what he means to Min-Jun. If Park doesn't back off his business dealings, if he doesn't withdraw from the Huang Group acquisition, we'll go after Daddy Dearest in Lagos. Your choice, Sophie. Min-Jun's empire or your father's life. You have 48 hours to decide. Min-Jun's expression went deadly calm. The kind of calm that was more terrifying than anger. They're threatening Chitty now. He stood. Started pacing. They must be desperate. Choi must be desperate. What do I do? Sophie asked. Her voice small. Teared. My dad. Min-Jun, they're threatening my father. Min-Jun pulled her close. Nothing is going to happen to Chitty. I promise you. He pulled out his phone. Made a call. Spoke rapidly in Korean. When he hung up, his expression was determined. I'm having security sent to your father in Lagos. They'll be there within hours. He won't even know they're watching him. This is all because of me, Sophie said. Tears streaming down her face now. Because I fell in love with you. No. Min-Jun grabbed her shoulders. Made her look at him. This is because Choi Dae-young is a greedy, desperate man who's losing everything. You falling in love with me. His voice softened. That's the only good thing to come from any of this. You mean that? Every word. He kissed her forehead. We're going to end this. Tomorrow. I'm meeting with Choi personally. That's dangerous. I don't care. His eyes were hard. Cold. He threatened you. He threatened Chitty. That ends now. 9. The next morning, Sophie woke to find Min-Jun already gone. A note on the kitchen counter. Meeting with Choi. Security is here. Don't leave the penthouse. I'll be back soon. MJ. Sophie's stomach twisted with worry. She tried to work on her presentation. Couldn't focus. Tried to watch TV. Nothing held her attention. All she could think about was Min-Jun. Facing this dangerous man. Because of her. Her phone rang. An international number. Lagos. Dad, she answered. Sophie, baby girl. Her father's voice was tight. Worried. Min-Jun called me this morning. Told me everything. About the attacks. About some man threatening you and me. He paused. He also told me something else. Sophie's heart stopped. What did he tell you? That he's in love with you. That you're in love with him. That he wants my permission to court you properly. Chitty's voice was unreadable. Is it true, Sophie? Do you love him? Sophie closed her eyes. This was it. The moment of truth. Yes, Dad. I love him. I've loved him for months. Silence on the other end. Long. Heavy. Finally Chitty spoke. I should be angry. He's my best friend. He's older than you. He's your boss. Another pause. But this morning when he called me, his voice when he talked about you, Sophie. I've never heard a man more terrified of losing someone. More determined to protect someone. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. Dad. He told me he'd give up the business deal. Give up everything. If it meant keeping you and me safe. Chitty's voice grew thick with emotion. A man doesn't offer to sacrifice his empire for just anyone. He loves you, baby. Really loves you. You're not angry. Oh, I'm angry, Chitty said. But she could hear the smile in his voice. I'm going to punch him next time I see him. But after that, I'm going to welcome him to the family. If that's what you want. It's what I want, Sophie whispered. More than anything. Then you have my blessing. Chitty paused. Now you just need to make sure he comes back alive from whatever foolish thing he's doing right now. Sophie spent the next 3 hours pacing. Worrying. Imagining worst-case scenarios. Finally the door opened. Min-Jun walked in. Alive. Whole. A little disheveled but unharmed. Sophie ran to him. Threw her arms around him. Are you okay? What happened? Did he? It's over, Min-Jun said quietly. Holding her tight. Choi has been arrested. The police had enough evidence once I provided my own. Fraud. Attempted kidnapping. Corporate espionage. He's going away for a long time. He pulled back to look at her. You're safe now. Your father is safe. It's over. Sophie started crying. Relief flooding through her. I was so scared. I thought. Shoo. Min-Jun wiped her tears with his thumbs. I made you a promise. Protect what's mine. And Sophie. His eyes were intense. Full of love. You're mine. If you'll have me. I talked to my dad, Sophie said. Min-Jun tensed. And? He said I have his blessing. After he punches you. Min-Jun laughed. The sound surprised Sophie. Warm and genuine and relieved. I'll take that punch gladly. He kissed her. Soft and sweet and full of promise. When he pulled back he was smiling. Your internship ends tomorrow. Friday. I know. So technically, as of 5 p.m. tomorrow, you're no longer my intern. Technically, Sophie agreed. Min-Jun's smile turned heated. Good. Because I've been waiting weeks to do this properly. That night, as they celebrated with dinner, Min-Jun's phone buzzed. An email. He opened it. His expression changed. What is it? Sophie asked. An offer. From the Huang Group. He looked up at her. They want to merge with Park Industries. Make me CEO of the combined company. It would make us the largest tech conglomerate in South Korea. That's amazing. It would also mean spending 6 months in Busan. Setting up operations. Being away from Seoul. He reached across the table. Took her hand. I want you to come with me. Not as an employee. As my partner. My girlfriend. The woman I'm building a life with. Sophie's heart soared. Are you asking me to move to Busan with you? I'm asking you to build a future with me. Wherever that takes us. Min-Jun's eyes were vulnerable. Hopeful. What do you say, Sophie Okafor? Want to take a chance on us? Sophie pretended to think about it. Move to Busan with my handsome billionaire boyfriend. Help build an empire. Leave behind my tiny apartment. He grinned. That's the easiest yes I've ever given. Friday 5 p.m. Sophie's internship officially ended. The office threw her a goodbye party. Well, technically it was a congratulations on your full-time position party. But everyone knew what it really meant. Ji-woo gave a speech about Sophie's brilliance. The luxury brand pitch had been a massive success. The client signed immediately, praised Sophie's innovative approach. When the party ended, Sophie packed her desk. Strange how 3 months of memories fit in one small box. She took one last look around. This place had changed her life. Not because of the job, but because of the man. Ready to go. Min-Jun stood at her cubicle. Not hiding. Not pretending. His hand extended toward her. Pin. Honest. Sophie took it. Let him pull her close. Right there in the office. Where everyone could see. Very ready, she said. 3 months later. Busan was beautiful. The beaches. The mountains. The perfect blend of city and nature. Sophie had her own office at the new Park Hwang headquarters. Head of international marketing. Her own team. Her own projects. She'd earned it. Not because she was dating the CEO. But because she was damn good at her job. Tonight they were having dinner at Min-Jun's favorite restaurant. Overlooking Houndy Beach. The water sparkled under the setting sun. I talked to your parents today, Min-Jun said casually. Too casually. Oh. Sophie tried to read his expression. Your father definitely punched me when he visited last month. I know. I was there. She smiled at the memory. Chitty had flown to Korea, punched Min-Jun square in the jaw, then hugged him and called him son. It was very dramatic. Very dad. Your mother invited us to Lagos for Christmas, Min-Jun continued. She wants to introduce me to the extended family. Teach me to make proper jollof rice. She's going to love you, Sophie said. Or she'll decide you're not good enough for me and poison your food. Worth the risk. Min-Jun's hand found hers across the table. Sophie, these past 3 months have been the happiest of my life. Mine too. I wake up next to you every morning. Work alongside you every day. Come home to you every night. His thumb traced circles on her palm. I don't want it to end. It doesn't have to, Sophie said softly. Good. Min-Jun stood. Moved around the table. Got down on one knee. Sophie's heart stopped. Oh my God. Sophie Okafor. He pulled out a small black box. Opened it. Inside was the most beautiful ring she'd ever seen. A simple band with a stunning diamond. And next to the diamond, small sapphire. Blue for Nigeria's flag, Min-Jun explained. And the diamond for Korea. Our 2 worlds coming together. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. I love you, he continued. I love your brilliant mind. Your kind heart. Your terrible jokes. Your amazing jollof rice. Everything. He smiled. I want to spend my life making you happy. Building a future together. Creating a family that spans 2 cultures. 2 continents. His voice grew thick with emotion. Will you marry me, Sophie? Sophie was already nodding. Already crying. Already reaching for him. Yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Min-Jun slid the ring onto her finger. Pulled her into his arms. Kissed her like his life depended on it. Around them the restaurant applauded. But Sophie barely heard it. All she heard was her own heart, singing with joy. 1 year later. Epilogue. The wedding was in Lagos. A perfect blend of Nigerian and Korean traditions. Sophie wore 2 dresses. A traditional Nigerian iro and buba first. Gold and emerald green. Then a white Korean hanbok for the ceremony. Min-Jun wore a matching hanbok. His parents had flown in from Seoul. Met Chitty and Sophie's mother. The 2 families had hit it off immediately. Bonding over their shared love of their children. And shared terror at how stubborn they both were. Now, at the reception, Sophie watched Min-Jun attempt to dance to Afrobeats. He was terrible. Completely off rhythm. But he didn't care. He was laughing. Having fun. Celebrating. He really loves you, Amara said. Sophie's best friend. The one who'd heard all those original messages. I know. Sophie couldn't stop smiling. Who would have thought? Leaked text messages would lead to this. Everything happens for a reason, Amara said wisely. Though maybe next time use better phone security. Sophie laughed. Min-Jun caught her eye across the room. Mouthed, I love you. She mouthed it back. 1 year ago, she'd been a terrified intern. Her secrets exposed. Her heart on the line. Now she was married to the love of her life. Working a job she adored. Building a future that spanned continents. Sometimes the biggest scandals lead to the greatest love stories. Sometimes what feels like the end is really just the beginning. And sometimes, just sometimes, love really does conquer all. As Sophie and Min-Jun drove away from the reception, heading to the airport for their honeymoon in Bali, Sophie thought about everything they'd been through. The leaked messages, the attacks, the threats, the fear. All of it had been worth it. Because they'd found each other. What are you thinking about? Min-Jun asked, his hand warm in hers. That I'd do it all again, Sophie said honestly. Every scary moment, every difficult conversation, every obstacle. She turned to look at him. Because it led me to you. Min-Jun brought her hand to his lips, kissed it softly. We're going to have an amazing life, Mrs. Park. We already do, Mr. Park. Sophie leaned her head on his shoulder. Content. Happy. Home. Because home wasn't Lagos or Seoul or Busan. Home was wherever they were together. And that was the greatest love story of all.